In a world that often feels pretty lost and divided, Pope Leo XIV has just released a major new letter that offers a really bold vision for the future of education. It's called Drawing New Maps of Hope. And trust me, it's not just some document, it's a real challenge to the way we think. So let's dive in and see what it's all about.
Okay, so you have to wonder, right? With everything else going on in the world, all the crises we're facing, why a big letter about education? Why right now? Well, the Pope frames this as a response to something much deeper, a kind of underlying emergency that affects all of us.
And here's the answer. He calls it a global educational emergency. It's this feeling of being adrift, caused by conflict, by inequality, and just the insane pace of the digital world. And this isn't just some abstract thought. He timed this to the 60th anniversary of a huge foundational document on education. So this letter is meant to be a practical map, kind of like a compass for a world that feels like it's lost its way.
Now, to really get this vision for the future, the letter first takes us back in time. And what it shows is that this educational tradition, it's never been some static, dusty thing in a museum. Its core identity has always been about radical adaptation. This timeline really brings that innovative history to life. I mean, it starts with the Desert Fathers, teaching wisdom through simple stories. Then you get the monasteries and the very first universities, which literally saved culture during the Dark Ages. The Renaissance saw these incredibly advanced interdisciplinary programs. And then, in the modern era, you have pioneers like John Bosco and De La Salle, who came up with a revolutionary idea, giving a quality education to the poor and the working class. The theme here, over and over again, is a creative, dynamic response to the needs of the time. And this quote, this gets right to the heart of what was driving all of that. Pope Leo XIV puts it so bluntly: educating the poor isn't a favor, it's a duty. That conviction, that education is a fundamental tool for justice, that's the thread that connects this entire history and really fuels the vision for the future. So if history shows us this tradition of adaptation, what's the compass for getting around today? Well, the letter argues it all hinges on one core idea. We have to educate persons, not just train workers. And the letter lays out these two completely competing visions, side by side. On one hand, you have a human-centered approach. It sees every student as a unique person with a story, a purpose. But on the other hand, there's this market-driven view that's always in danger of reducing a person to a profile of competencies, basically just an algorithm that's only valued for its economic output. The letter is pretty clear that we have to choose which path we're going to follow. So how do we build that human-centered vision? The letter points to this beautiful motto from St. John Henry Newman, cor ad cor loquitur. It's Latin for heart speaks to heart. And the idea is that real education is never just about transferring data from one brain to another. It's a relationship. It's a dialogue. It's about an authentic encounter where we see the whole person, not just their test scores. Okay, this brings us to the biggest challenges we're facing today. The letter doesn't just hang out in the world of philosophy. It gets really specific about the new frontiers that all of us are trying to navigate right now. The letter singles out 3 urgent priorities for education. First, what he calls the human digital. How do we actually form wisdom instead of just processing information? Second, the ecological calling. How do we finally connect the dots between environmental justice and social justice? And third, the disarming peace. How on earth do we teach reconciliation in a world so full of conflict? And on that first point about our digital worlds, the message is absolutely crystal clear. Technology has to serve the person, not replace them. The goal is to always put the human being before the algorithm. It's a reminder that no AI, no matter how smart, can ever replace things like poetry, imagination, or love. Okay, so with all these challenges, what's the actual game plan for moving forward? The letter wraps up with this really powerful and beautiful metaphor for the future of Catholic education all over the world. The vision is of an educational constellation. Picture this: every school, every university is its own unique star, shining with its own light. But, and this is the key part, they aren't isolated. Together, they form a network, a constellation that creates a map of hope, helping all of us navigate the path forward. It's a huge call for collaboration instead of competition. So what are the guiding stars in this constellation? They're the 7 core commitments of the Global Compact on Education. And as you can see, these are the non-negotiables, principles like placing the person at the center, advancing the dignity of women, and taking care of our common home. These are the shared values that are meant to unite the entire network.
To really capture the whole spirit of this vision, Pope Leo XIV borrows this amazing line from his predecessor, Pope Francis. He calls on educators to be choreographers of the dance of life. It's all about being creative and collaborative and human-centered, helping students find their own rhythm in a really complex world.
And it all comes together in the Pope's final 3-part call to action for every single educator. First, disarm the words. Choose dialogue over division. Second, raise your gaze. Look beyond what's right in front of you to your ultimate purpose. And finally, guard the heart. Always, always prioritize the human person over any system or ideology.
And so that leaves all of us with this fundamental question. This letter offers one powerful answer, one that's centered on dignity and relationship. But it challenges all of us to think, in a world that's so desperate for direction, what should be the true North Star that guides education for everyone?
Knowledge transcends time. Truth endures.